All right, so 52 said a lobster periodically sheds its shell and grows a new shell. During this process, which is called molting, the weight of the lobsters increase are shown at this table. All right, so they tell us that before molting, it's 1 1/4 pounds. After 1 molting, it's 1 3/4. After 2, it's 2 2/4. After 3, it's 3 3/4. And after 4, it's 5 1/4. Okay, so that's our given. I'm just going to look at all this so I know what's going on, Cullen, okay? It says, how many pounds did the lobster gain after each molting? So I do need to see math here. All right, so from here, I would say 1 3/4 minus 1 1/4 is going to give me 2/4, which is 1/2. All right, so that's our first molting. I'm going to do this over here. So this is 2/4, which is 1/2. All right, and I would do these for each of these. Okay. So I'm just going to write down what we end up getting. The second molting is going to be 3/4. The third molting is 1 1/4, and the fourth molting is 1 1/2. Okay, so Cullen, you're cool with that. And by the way, I should see the math. Okay. Part B, so this was A. Part B said, how many pounds in all did the lobster gain after 4 moltings? All right, so I have to take the before and I have to take the after, and we want to know how much did it gain. All right, so how much weight gain after 4 moltings? All right, if I was to set up an equation, which I would expect you to do, I would say weight before molting plus the weight gain equals the final weight. I would expect to see that formula, that game plan. If you didn't do it, you're doing that now. So if I gave this to you on a test, I would expect you to set a game plan up for it and set up an equation. All right, I don't know how much was gained. There's my x. So I have 1 1/4 plus x is equal to 5 1/4. And now I would solve this. I have my bigger minus my smaller, so I end up with 4 pounds. So there is part B. That's what I should see. All right, part C, Cullen, is what you were asking for, so we'll work on that right now. Who needs to see B? All right, Danny, you had that game plan and that equation? Excellent. So for part C, it says, suppose the lobster gains 2 1/4 pounds after 1 more molting. So we have after 5th molting, it gains 2 1/4 pounds. How much does it weigh then? So how much does it weigh now? Well, my 4th molting, it weighed 5 1/4 pounds. All right, so to get my new, I'm going to say weight after 4th plus weight after 5th is equal to total weight. So there's my game plan for part C. Cullen, does that make sense? All right, so I know that it gained, wait a minute, hang on. Nope. I'm going to say weight gain, because I am looking for my weight after the fifth one. So my weight after the fourth molting plus my weight gain gives me my total weight after fifth. So I end up with that 5 1/4 plus 2 1/4 is going to give me my total weight. Alright, so off to the side I have 5 1/4 plus 2 1/4. I just want you to get in the habit of setting mixed numbers up vertically. Alright, this is going to be 7 2/4. So x is equal to 7 1/2 pounds. Are you cool with that? Awesome. What else can I do for you guys? Matthew? 25? Awesome. Alright, 25 says I have 2. You guys write down the givens as they've given them to you. Don't change things. Write it down exactly as they've given you and then make sense of what you need to do. So they tell us I have 2 1/14 minus 11 3/14. Is this the one you're talking about? Okay. So Matthew, I have subtraction. So I'm going to go ahead and do adding the opposite. Alright. If I said to you, I have 2 minus 15. Matthew, if I said to you I have 2 minus 15, I'm going to do adding the opposite here, right? What math am I actually going to do? I know, that's what that says. You're simplifying that. What math are you actually going to do to simplify that? What? Dear God, can you guys please just do it? Matthew, what are you doing? What are you going to do to simplify that? And don't say to me subtraction. What are you physically doing? I need you to tell me, what is 2 plus a negative 15? You guys, we did this back in like chapter 1. We did this. If I have 2 plus a negative 15, what math am I actually doing? Addison, 15 minus 2. I'm taking the absolute value of negative 15 is 15. The absolute value of 2 is 2. I'm subtracting their absolute values. I end up with 13. Is my answer positive or negative, and why? This goes back to chapter 1. Sarah? Excellent. That shouldn't even be a discussion. So, this same absolute value work, when I'm adding two numbers with different signs, I take the absolute value of both numbers, you subtract the bigger number minus the smaller number. The bigger absolute value minus the smaller absolute value. And for those of you that think that's funny, it's really not, because you're the advanced math class. If I had said that to the regular math class, I guarantee you people would have gotten that. So, the same is true here. Which of these two numbers has the greater absolute value? Cameron. So, I have 11 3/4 minus 2 1/14. 2 1/14. This is the actual math that we're doing. Now I'm going to look at what I have. 3/14 minus 1/14 is 2/14. 11 minus 2 is 9. 11 had the greater absolute value. It was negative, so that's a negative 9 2/14. I can divide out common factors, so I have negative 9 1/7. So, whether it's a decimals, fractions, integers, when you're adding two numbers with different signs, you're actually subtracting their absolute values. The bigger absolute value minus the smaller. All right, what else can I do for you guys? Addison. All right, let's take a look at 23. 23 said, I have negative 5 and 5/18 minus 17/18. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and do adding the opposite here. All right, so I'm actually adding two numbers with the same sign, correct? So when I'm adding two numbers with the same sign, don't I just add them together? Okay, so really what I'm doing is I'm going to do 5 and 5/18 plus 17/18. I'm dropping the negative off because I'm just adding two numbers with the same sign. So I just drop the negative off, I'm going to add them and then put the negative back on. All right, so if I add these, 17 plus 5 is 22/18. 5 plus 0 is 5. Well, I need to change that 22/18. Well, 22 minus 18 is 4. Did I do that right? So this 22/18 is going to be 1 and 4/18. If I did that right, goes into their ones. Yep. 4 becomes a 2, the 18 becomes a 9. So I end up with 5 plus 1 and 2/9, which gives me 6 and 2/9. I hope that was our answer. And it's going to be a negative. Yes? Yes, so if I have negative 1 over 2, that's the same thing as negative 1/2, and that's the same thing as 1 over negative 2. All right, put this away, get your notes out. We are now moving on when we have unlike denominators. So we're in 5.3. Today is the 13th of January. We have 5.3. All right, we're going to be adding and subtracting unlike fractions. As we said before, when we have unlike fractions, we have to get a common denominator. So we must have common denominator. All right. So let's look at some examples of this. And I have to see your common denominator work. So let's say I have 5/12 plus 1/3. All right, what common denominator would we use? Ada? 12. So off to the side, I'm going to do my equivalent fraction work. This equivalent fraction work is required. Equivalent fraction work. I have to see this. What am I multiplying 1/3 by to get a equivalent fraction with 12 as my denominator? Sophia? Yep, 4 over 4. So I end up with 4/12. So I'm going to go back and rewrite what I have. When you have regular fractions, I'm okay with you leaving it horizontally. If you want to set up vertically, that's fine. Mixed numbers, you have to set up vertically. So now I end up with 9/12. 9 is divisible by 3. 12 is divisible by 3. I end up with 3/4. All right, let me give you another one to do. So negative 5/6 minus 7/9. Let me give you a little tip here. Always put the negative on the numerator when you're doing these for adding and subtracting. On the numerator. Put the negative on the numerator. When you're multiplying and dividing, it doesn't really matter. But when you're adding and subtracting, it doesn't make sense to put it on the denominator. So always just put it on the numerator. So all of you do this, please. I'm going to do adding the opposite. All right, tell me what you have to do. Ada? All right, so I'm just going to go ahead and put this back over here. All right, keep going, sweetie. No, drop the negative off completely. Negative 1 and 11/18. Typically, for improper fractions, we always change them into mixed numbers. All right, so I want to make a little note there. Change improper fractions into mixed numbers. Your fraction at 11/18 is never going to be negative. Like, you're not going to have 1 and a negative 11/18. That doesn't make any sense. All right, so when you're simplifying these, take the negative sign off of it, put it into a mixed number, and put the negative out in front of the whole thing. You guys cool with that? Okay, let's see what happens when we have variables. I do have a change to your homework tonight, so when we get done with class, I'm going to have you get your assignment notebooks out. All right, so I want you to simplify this expression. So I have, here's my example, I have a over 2 minus a over 6. So now I have variables involved. The process is still the same. What common denominator would I use for here to subtract these? Brendan? Yeah. So I really only need to change that one fraction. So I can leave that one alone. What do I have to multiply a over 2 by to get an equivalent fraction with 6 as my denominator? Brendan? Not 3. How about 3 over 3? Yep, so 3 over 3. When I do that, what's my new fraction, Brendan? Excellent, 3a over 6. What's my coefficient of A? Alex? 1. So this is a 1A. If you don't want to put the 1 there, you don't have to. But I'm still seeing, I'm still seeing people not understanding that. So this is 3A over 6 plus a negative 1A over 6. Again, you don't necessarily have to have the negative 1A or just the 1. That's up to you, but you do have to recognize that's what that is. So Brendan, if I finish this, what's my final answer here? Yep, so I have 2A over 6. Can I simplify that further? What does that simplify to? Excellent. 1A over 3 or A over 3. Let me give you guys another one, and then we'll be done. Negative 3y over 5 plus 2y over 7. Simplify that, please. When you're done with that, get your assignment notebook out. Danny, you're working on this? Okay. What's one easy way to get a common denominator between two fractions? If you don't know for sure what the common denominator could be, what's one way you could? Cameron? Yeah, just multiply them together. So what common denominator would we use here, Cameron? Yep. Cameron, what am I multiplying 3y over 5 by? Excellent. So I get 21y. What am I multiplying 2y over 7 by, Cameron? Excellent. So I get 10y over 35. So I'm going to put these back. So I have a negative 21y over 35 plus 10y over 35. 21y, I don't know if I said that right. Negative 21y over 35 plus 10y. Cameron, what do I get when I do that addition? Over 35. You guys cool with that? Okay. Get your assignment notebook out. I'm just eliminate 4 problems. Okay, so I want you guys doing 12 through 19 all. So 12 through 19 all. And 36 through 40, 37, 36 through 42 even, leave that. You're getting rid of 32, 33, 44, 45, and 50. So you're getting rid of 32, 33, 45, and 50. You're leaving 36 through 42 even the same, but then you're changing that first grouping, 12 through 19 all. So 12 through 19 all, and 36 through 42 even. That's it. Yeah? Listen. 13 through 31, 13, yes, 13, yeah, so all you're doing is 12 through 19 all right? And then you are doing 36 through 42 even. That's what you're doing, okay? All right. My odds make go ahead.